very unplanned. There's, well, some little films you might have heard of, like God's Not Dead, 1 and 2. Remember those great movies? If C.S. Lewis had made movies, this would be his Screw Tape Letters. It's actually a movie representing biblical truths that you can bring to friends and family. It's well acted. It looks fantastic. It's a roller coaster of a ride. Preview audiences are raving about this, from high school students to grandmas. Anyone who likes a good roller coaster ride that also makes you think about the reality of good and evil should see this movie. Nefarious. It opens nationwide starting April 14th. Invite your friends and family to see Nefarious. You can order your tickets now. Whoisnefarious.com. That's the website for you to find out the locations and order your tickets. Whoisnefarious.com. You're not going to want to miss this new movie coming out April 14th called Nefarious. Whoisnefarious.com.
Hey traders, hi, this is Jake Sampson. I'm a former CIA officer and best-selling author on safety and preparedness. The fact is, things are getting downright scary for everyone who's storing their wealth in the banks. We just saw the collapse of 3 major banks, and I would urge you to consider protecting your wealth ASAP. If even a tiny percentage of Americans attempt to withdraw their savings, we would see a collapse of the entire banking system, setting us into a modern-day Great Depression. Fortunately, there is a way for you to avoid this. It starts with contacting Advantage Gold. If you have an IRA or 401k, Advantage Gold can help convert those paper assets into physical gold and silver. This is a process that I recommend everybody use as a hedge against rapid inflation and to protect your retirement wealth from the banks. Take control of your financial safety today. Call 800-900-8000 to get your free gold investment kit from Advantage Gold. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call
800-900-8000.
even when we are apart, we must be together. 8:60 a.m. The Answer. JTR base San Francisco. Streaming now on smart speakers. The Odyssey.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. On his overseas trip, President Biden in Northern Ireland to participate in marking the 25th anniversary of an agreement that helped achieve peace. The United States was instrumental in negotiating an end to sectarian violence that killed thousands of people over several decades. Former President Trump due back in New York on Thursday.
Trump is supposed to be deposed by the New York Attorney General, according to someone speaking on condition of anonymity. The last time he was asked, Trump pled the fifth 400 times. The AG's lawsuit alleges Trump and his company misled banks by misstating the values of assets like golf courses and hotels. Meanwhile, Trump wants his April 25th trial with E. Jean Carroll pushed back a month. He says he can't get a fair trial with all the publicity from his indictment where he pled not guilty. Trump denies all the claims. Julie Walker, New York.
Also at townhall.com and Consumer News. Correspondent Jennifer King reports there's mixed reaction to proposed regulations the EPA calls the most ambitious pollution standards ever for cars and trucks.
A recent AP poll found that only about 40% of Americans are considering an electric vehicle for their next purchase. Depending on how automakers comply, the EPA projects that at least 60% of new passenger vehicles would be electric by 2030 and up to 67% by 2032. John Bozzella, CEO of the trade group Alliance for Automotive Innovation, says reaching the 50% target was always a stretch goal. In the first quarter of this year, electric vehicles accounted for just 7.2% of U.S. vehicle sales. Jennifer King, Washington.
U.S. consumer inflation eased in March, rising just 0.1% from February to March. On Wall Street, the Dow had 78 points, the NASDAQ up 8 points. More at townhall.com.
People ask me sometimes, Lance, I'm worried about my finances, and I feel bad because I should be worried, right? I realize that inflation is going to be eating up money. I've got to do something to get around this crazy stock market and Biden's spending spree. Gold has, since the beginning of time, been the resource that God's people have relied on. The silver is mine and the gold is mine, is what the prophet Haggai said during a time of great shaking. To protect your retirement, I recommend that you diversify your right out of paper assets and into physical gold. And the best way to do that is with Gold IRA from the Birch Gold Group. I want you to text the words FAITH, F-A-I-T-H, to 989898 and get a free info kit on gold IRAs. There's no strings attached to this, so just text FAITH, F-A-I-T-H, to 989898 and see what I've discovered here about gold and its ability to stabilize your investment and create a storage of wealth for you in unsteady times.
Taiwan's governing party has announced its candidate for the next presidential election.
As expected, Taiwan's Democratic Progressive Party has chosen the current Vice President, William Lai, to stand next January. President Taiwan cannot run again because she has completed 2 terms. In the past, Mr. Lai has made strong statements in support of Taiwan's independence. If he wins, the island's relationship with China, which considers the island its own territory, will probably continue to be strained. Who leads democratic Taiwan is important because it's become a point of tension between China and the United States, Taipei's most important ally.
BBC correspondent Michael Bristow. Buckingham Palace announcing Prince Harry will attend the coronation service of his father, King Charles III, at Westminster Abbey on May 6th. This news will set aside months of speculation about his presence. Breaking news at townhall.com. North Dakota joins other states in athletic transmitting.
Republican Governor Doug Burgum signed 2 transgender athlete bills into law. Transgender girls and women now prohibited from joining female sports teams in K through 12 and college. The House and Senate had passed the bills with veto-proof majorities. At least 19 other states have imposed restrictions on transgender athletes. The Biden administration has proposed a rule which still faces a lengthy approval process to forbid outright bans on transgender athletes. On to Rockstar reporting.
New York City officials have unveiled 3 new high-tech policing devices, including a robotic dog that critics called rather creepy when it first joined the police back 2.5 years ago. The new devices also include a GPS tracker for stolen cars and a cone-shaped security robot. More on these stories at townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Bill Branding has successfully taught tens of thousands of investors how to navigate them.
I feel great at philsgig.com. That's right, philsgig.com. Join my gang for 10 days. It's free. If anything, during that 10-day period, you're going to learn how the market really works. You're going to find information that you never had before. You're going to walk away and go, I didn't know that. So join my gang for 10 days free, philsgang.com. And you're also going to learn how to make money when the market goes down. It's kind of silly just sitting there with the market going down, hoping. Why hope when you can sell short and make money? Either way, you make money when the market goes up, you make money when the market goes down. That's the benefit of Phil's Gang. You make money.
Become a Phil's Gang member and receive the training, advice, and software that will take your investing to the next level.
philsgang.com. Sign up free for 10 days. News, opinion, insight. 860 on theanswer.com. Our mobile app on TuneIn, iHeart, and the Odyssey app. We go where you go. 860 AM, The Answer.
audience of the great Dennis Prager. Pleasure to be here. We'll open up the phone lines right away at 8-Prager-776. That's 877-243-7776, because we've got to figure some things out. We've got to figure some things out about presidential politics this morning. I started talking about this with my local audience in Northeast Ohio, and I want to bring this to the wonderful Dennis Prager national audience, and that is the question: are you prepared to do what the Democrats do? Now, ordinarily, I would not suggest to you that we want to do what the Democrats do, because what the Democrats do, in my humble opinion, is often very demonic. I oftentimes replace the C in Democrat with an N. And so you come up with demon rats. And I think that's what most of them are, or at least what they have devolved over the course of time into. I wouldn't ordinarily tell you to do what the Democrats do, but if we are going to defeat Democrats and save this republic, which is kind of teetering right now, you know, it's kind of a precipice, and we can either fall back to land and save ourselves, or fall over the edge, never to be heard from again. We have to defeat the Democrats, and to do that, we have to do what Democrats do. Now, what do Democrats do? What do they do well? When it comes to presidential politics, in particular, what they do well is they find their person. They rally. They rally, they surround, they create a perimeter, if you will, that is not to be breached. They coalesce and circle the wagons, and how many other ways can I say that? Around their candidate, making sure that their candidate is going to get every one of the 75 or 80 million votes that they have coming to them. There's nobody in the Democrat Party, nobody of note, nobody of substance, and certainly no people who are not of note or of substance but are of great number, that say, if Joe Biden is not my nominee, if he is party, I'm voting for the Republican. Nobody's doing that. Nobody. There's nobody in the Democrat universe that is saying, if Joe Biden doesn't run and Kamala Harris doesn't get elevated to the position of nominee for president, I'm voting for the Republican. Nobody is saying that about Gavin Newsom. Nobody is. When the Democrats pick their nominee, every Democrat will support them. That's just reality. They're very, very unified. It's kind of what I would call a little bit of a dichotomy here, because there's some good and there's some bad with that. The good is that, again, they're very, very unified. Eventually, once they settle on their nominee, they bury the hatchet, they erase, hard feelings, bad will becomes goodwill, and so on and so forth. The bad side of that, of course, is they are slaves to groupthink. That's one thing I love about being a conservative, is being diverse of thought. Diversity only matters to the practitioners of DIE, which is diversity, inclusion, and equity. It only matters to them when it comes to diversity of characteristics, things like skin color, sex, or gender. They have no interest whatsoever in diversity of thought, of ideas. They are very much slaves to groupthink. Not even slaves, they're willing participants in the groupthink. But they do it so well that it helps them in virtually every election, particularly in modern elections. Now, why am I saying we need to emulate that? Why am I saying we need to be like Democrats? Well, the reason why is because I've discovered and stumbled across some very disturbing messaging coming from conservative Republicans on places like Twitter and social media. And we have people that are so entrenched in one particular candidate, and they're so invested in that candidate's campaign that they are literally saying the opposite of what the Democrats do. They are saying, if it isn't my guy, I'll vote for the Democrat. They're online. They're all over the place. if it isn't my guy, I'm voting for the Democrat, or I'm sitting the election out in 2024. I will not vote for anybody but my guy. Now, if that sounds like delusional, polluted thinking to you, you're right. It is. It's very delusional, and it is very polluted, and it's very dangerous, because it threatens to give control of our republic to the other party for another 4 years to literally dissect and destroy that republic, to replace it with some sort of globalist tool, if you will, for the global elites. Our republic is in the balance, and we have people saying if it isn't on the conservative side of the spectrum, they're saying if my guy doesn't win, I'm going to vote for the other side, or I'm going to sit it out. That's just dangerous. Doesn't begin to describe it. But you know who these people all are? They're the opposite of never-Trumpers. But they're just as dangerous. They're the only Trumpers. I spent the entire morning talking about this to Cleveland listeners, and I want to find out how you feel about this. Only Trumpers are just as dangerous to the nation and the protection thereof as never-Trumpers. You see, never-Trumpers, I think we can all agree, are the most closed-minded, delusional individuals, particularly those who are of voting age, that we have in this country. What kind of a closed mind says that never, under any circumstances, will I vote for Donald J. Trump? And this didn't just happen since, controversies were brought to bear during his term. The minute he walked down the golden escalator in 2015, remember? Hard to believe that's been 8 years now. But in the summer of 2015, when he first made his announcement, there was a massive movement in the Republican Party, not massive, there was a significant movement in the Republican Party that literally, and I remember the National Review article that they ran on the whole thing, never Trump. We will never support that guy. We'll never vote for that guy. No matter how conservative he is, no matter what kind of a platform he espouses, no matter what kind of sincere attempt to work the swamp in Washington, D.C., to drain it, to break up the establishment of rhinos that essentially carry the Republican, where they wear the Republican lapel pin, but they actually govern like Democrats. No matter how much he tries to do that, we're never Trump. You talk about the most closed-minded thinking you can ever have. That's what it is. And that's why I despise and I abhor never-Trumpers. But what we are observing now as we head into this new presidential cycle is we're seeing the birth of only Trumpers. Only Trumpers who say, I don't care how conservative another guy in our primary is. I don't care how brilliant another guy or girl or female or whatever in our primary is. If it isn't my guy, Donald J. Trump, 45, I'm voting for the Democrat. If it isn't my guy, I'm sitting the election out. In either case, you hand control of the republic to the people who want to destroy the republic. You literally hand the Democrats the country. We have to discuss this. We have to address this, and we will. Bob France sitting in for Dennis Prager.
Balance of Nature has been using whole fruits and vegetables to change lives for decades. But did you know about Balance of Nature's revolutionary fiber product? Balance of Nature's Fiber and Spice uses a well-researched blend of whole fiber sources, such as psyllium husk, flaxseed, monk fruit, and whole apple, to provide your body with powerful nutrition. It contains 12 carefully selected spices, including cinnamon, ginger, turmeric, and cumin, just to name a few. Each ingredient helps in getting the essential nutrition you need. It supports overall wellness and gut health, giving you the ability to live your best life no matter your age. Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies and fiber and spice work together as Balance of Nature's whole health system. Get the most nutrition you can by upgrading to the whole health system today. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751. And for a limited time,